settled, Brad?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. I'm going to call to order the Joint Ethics Board, our special meeting. And the first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of April 6, 2016.
I make a motion that they be approved as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? And I should have made note of this at the beginning. We're missing Mr. Ballard. He is aware of this meeting. He's out of town for this week. And we do have a quorum under the ordinance. We did have four for quorum, and that is, well, I had it right open there, under section 20, subsection H. All right, so, sorry about that. Should have done that first thing. Okay, the first order of new business is a formal request for an advisory opinion that we have received from the Bardstown Police Department. I believe the board has a copy of that request. I'll give everybody a minute or two to look at that, and of course, in the meantime, I'll mention that under the ordinance, section 29, the board is able, may, but you don't have to, but we are authorized, if we choose to do so, to render an advisory opinion concerning matters under our jurisdiction that are based upon real or hypothetical facts and circumstances. When requested, I'm skipping a little part of this, or upon our own initiative. And we shall render an advisory opinion when requested by any officer or employee of the city, county, or city county agency is covered. So we are actually required to, in this situation. Under section B, the advisory opinion must be in writing and state relevant facts and ask specific questions. Okay, I guess the question for us is, do we feel like this is appropriate insofar as meets those guidelines under the ethics ordinance? I personally think it does. I think it's very specific in its nature, and it is in writing, and it is from an employee of the city. So I don't think we have any choice anyway. And I would like to add, I think it's an important question anyway, given that it's relating to an important part of the ordinance, the nepotism clause, and I think it's also important in that it's regarding public safety and needs to be expedited for that reason. That's my personal opinion, and I would appreciate hearing, does anyone on the board feel like they would like to go into closed session to discuss this matter? We have the ability to do that if anyone so chooses to do it.
I mean, I think it clearly meets, what the, what our duty is, and that's we ask everyone to come before us and request these things ahead of time rather than doing it and then having a complaint filed, so they went through the proper process. So I think we should address it. So.
What do you think, John? Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Austin?
Agree.
I think so too. I don't think there's any question that this is part of our obligation and duty. And it is better, it's easier to prevent a mess than everyone to waste time and taxpayer dollars to try to fix it afterwards. So, okay. Well, in the past, we have not had many of these, but we have always referred these to an attorney, either the county, the city, and we have the authority as well to refer it to an outside attorney if we so choose. Does anybody have any thoughts on this matter?
I think after looking at it and with what this request is made up of, it would be my opinion. I don't think it would be appropriate to refer it to the city attorney, simply because the city attorney is technically the mayor's attorney. I mean, in this affects a city department that he is the appointing authority over. So I just
That's a
think
very
that,
good point.
that just, I mean, and I don't think there would be any conflict, but I think
Yeah.
just to avoid the conflict.
Like, is there any
that-
appearance of impropriety?
that
Just the
this-
appearance even.
I think it's gonna be very simple. I don't think that an attorney's gonna spend a great deal of time or money doing this, but I think we should look at someone outside to do this.
What do you think, John?
Well, okay, I hear what you're saying, you know, like I say, it's for many, you know. And it can be beneficial to us. Not to have to, you know, we can help to be upfront, am I right on?
Yeah, well, I just think it would be good to have an independent attorney look at it, somebody that's not,
Yeah.
that doesn't work for the city or the county. I just think that this is, you know, we're talking about employment, promotions, we're talking
Yeah.
about things that are affecting people's lives. This is not just,
Oh, this is,
you
yeah,
know,
with
it's
public
significant
safety.
and can affect, you know, some of these people's employment going forward. So
Well, and the public safety issue for me.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal to me. I think this kind of
There'd be
thing.
no need to contact Attorney General on something like this, would it?
I don't think they would do it.
no, I don't think it would.
My understanding is, before this request was made, and I'm putting words in somebody else's mouth, but my understanding is that that Mr. Mattingly tried to get this before he knew to refer it to us. It wasn't an avoidance of us, but it was before he knew
Yeah.
that we might be the appropriate agency. He tried to get these questions answered in a couple other ways, including in state government, and he was referred back to
Okay.
the city. So he did try, from my understanding, and I believe him, that he did try to
Mhm.
get this question answered in a couple other ways before he ever came to us, and then was told, you know, this is under the purview, I think, of the ethics board, and you're right. So,
Well, when I was elected jailer in '84, I was new, of course, at it, and I contacted Attorney General on several different occasions, and I always got a reply from him.
that's not so easy anymore.
Yeah.
It has changed, because when we've had questions regarding open records and open meetings years ago, I would call, and I worked in the Attorney General's office, and I knew the person, and she still wouldn't answer my questions. She's a friend of mine, you know, and if you can't, that's one of those things where I thought, wow, they're really tight on this, you know. You would think they wouldn't be, but it had to be in writing, it had to be specific, and then they would answer, but it wasn't, so anyway, my understanding is that he tried
Okay.
with the Department of Local Governments, I think, which is what I would have done. And he got turned away. If he got turned away from them, the AGs would have just referred him to the DLG. So he did everything he was going to be able to do.
I got a question.
Sure.
And I'm wondering why he's so interested in getting an opinion. I mean, it might not sound right,
Well, I think
but, you know,
it's,
if I know what I read here, if you know, well, then do the right thing. I mean,
I think it's because this is what I've been told. This is what he's told me. That the police department just wants to be careful to make sure they are not, they think they're okay, but they just want to be sure that they don't do anything that's wrong. And
I'm figuring
Well,
they're
the
smarter than
biggest- I
They're
think their
smarter
biggest-
than I am.
No,
They're
that's
smarter.
not true.
I mean, I figured
Well-
you would be more up on it than me.
I-
I'm not saying that from the smarter.
Well,
man.
but I think what their
More
concern
educated.
is that if they make a decision without having input from us or from someone,
Yeah.
and promotions are awarded, and then a complaint is filed, that then you're gonna have someone that's been promoted, and then 6 months or a year from now, there's gonna be, you know, however long it is, somebody files a complaint, and then we tell them, no, you shouldn't have done that, this person shouldn't have been eligible for promotion, and then they have to retract that promotion. And I think that's their
And it leaves more
concern.
gaps, and it leaves a lack of continuity in the police department.
Right.
I mean, which is one place I like to have continuity. I don't like seeing mix-ups.
So I think that's
you
their
know.
concern, and I think that's what we've always asked everybody to ask permission rather than, you know, beforehand, rather than do something and then have us to go back. And I think this is something even more significant than ones we've had in the past. I mean,
And I think you're right, Brad, that me reading it, I have a pretty good idea where I think I would recommend best to go with this. And of course, we don't have to accept the advisory opinion from the attorney. We may not agree with whatever he or she says. I guess, does anybody else have any questions or thoughts on this?
Well, if not, and if it's appropriate, I'd like to entertain a motion that we do refer this to outside counsel for their review, to give us an advisory, to give us their legal opinion,
Okay.
so that we can base our opinion on that.
Okay. All right, do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, now the next important question is, typically, I've been in charge of like referring stuff to attorneys and whatnot. But this is usually, I've never referred something to anybody than the city or county attorney. Does anyone have any thoughts or concerns about me finding someone who can do this? Because I can't formally get anybody to agree to do it unless the board says it's
I
okay.
make a motion that you, Christina, find an attorney,
Okay,
an appropriate attorney to handle this matter.
okay,
Second that.
okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, great. I appreciate that. That'll make my job a lot easier so that we don't have to get together just to pick an attorney. And I want to make sure, I appreciate your trusting me to do that. Okay, and I have lost my agenda. Sorry about that. All right. Next up is old business. The 2015 candidate filing statements of financial interest. Just to revisit this matter, we had one person that I had overlooked to send a reminder about, of course, under the ordinance, the failure of the board to remind someone to file is not absolved of the responsibility, but it is we do send out reminders. We don't have to, but we do send out reminders. And we didn't do it on this one person, so I cannot remember her name.
Barbara Hetty.
Okay.
Hetty,
Okay.
with the library clerk.
Yep, she did file, and of course had to file a request for an extension to file her statement of financial interest. I would like to make a motion that we accept that request for an extension to file.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, great. I think that's appropriate. All right, and then the 2015 expense reimbursements. We approved the numbers and the amounts we would request reimbursement from. I think it was $6 from Fairfield, wasn't it, Mary?
I can't remember, but it was significant like that.
Significant, yeah. And also from this county, and those requests went out
They
right
went
away. I know you did.
right
that.
away.
And do you know if we've gotten those in yet? I know they don't come to you.
I don't know
Okay.
necessarily.
Yeah, we'll just check for the next
I'll
meeting.
check back
I'm
on it.
sure they probably have, because it wasn't a big, but it hadn't been that long since we met, so.
Right.
They probably got to have a meeting to approve it too, so maybe they
I
didn't.
don't know.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about that, about the expense reimbursements or anything like that? No? Okay. And the last thing on our old business is, of course, we did get a request for an advisory opinion from the Bardstown-Essex County Air Board. That has been forwarded to Matthew Pike for the board's request and authority.
I heard back from him today.
Oh, you did? So
I
that's-
failed to tell you.
That's okay. I
He
mean-
had been in court for the last 2 days, and then he was catching up. He was
Okay.
not going to be in a position to submit anything to the board for this meeting tonight.
Okay.
He asked when the next meeting was scheduled. Of course, we didn't have one earlier today, so I don't know if, he did not give me a timeline on how long it would take him to submit it.
Okay, hopefully we'll be able to get it.
So I can go back to him and find that out, and then
Okay.
propose a time to gather again,
Well,
however you'd like to handle it.
Well, we're trying to meet before May 17th.
When you talk to whatever council you're gonna talk
Yeah.
to, ask them how long, if they can give you a time frame first, if they can meet that 17th.
Oh, yeah, I will.
And
I will.
if they can, then let's maybe talk to Matthew and ask if he can maybe have something
Yes.
so we can address both of them in the next
That's what
meeting together.
That's what I was planning to do.
Okay.
I was hoping, and I wish that it was here so that we could go ahead and review the advisory opinion on the airport board. Having said that, I think, I know from the last meeting, Otis had a lot of questions about that anyway. And even though we could decide the matter without him with the quorum, this board has never made a major decision without having a full board present. And I think that's a good habit, and I think we should keep with it. But we can't do it anyway, so it's you know, as soon as we get, hopefully sooner rather than later, I will call Matthew again and try to get him on the phone to see, if we can expedite that so that it's just.
Well, and the
ready.
air board one is more prospective.
It is.
It's not necessarily
Right.
time sensitive, so if we had to, we can
Right.
punt on that for a little bit. so.
Would like to get it done, but anyway, I've been trying to get that done, but, you know, I can't make it happen on my own, so. Anyway, I will forward, I'm hoping that I have it before the next board meeting, and we'll send that to you gentlemen as soon as we get it done. Does anybody have any questions about that? Now, I know we don't have an answer to this stuff, but, as far as setting a next meeting date, but I think it would be helpful if, it would save Mary a lot of trouble if we could tentatively set one for next week for the four of us, and I think Otis will try to make it happen. That way, we can, instead of making a lot of phone calls back and forth and all that stuff. Because I'm hoping, I think Matthew, from what you're telling me, sounds like he's gonna try to make it happen.
I got that impression, without clarifying.
And
really.
when is the 17th? What day of the week is
Next
it?
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, so we, well, we can't do what we can't do. I mean, if they
If
want
we
to have their
decide-
meeting the 17th, they want to have their meeting 17th, but that's not enough time.
Well, just keep in mind that we have to publish it 24 hours in advance. So if we
I
want to meet
think
on Monday,
we better
we have to
not-
have the agenda published by Friday.
Does anybody have an objection to setting it for the same bat time, same bat channel for next week? This time at 5:30 maybe for Brad.
I can't do Thursday.
I'm not nice to you, am I?
That's all right, I observe it.
Thursday, there's another.
Well, we
I'm
like
sorry,
to do,
wait,
you want to go check your calendar?
Wednesday, we're trying to, are we not trying to do a water and waste, or street and solid waste committee meeting? We have water and wastewater tomorrow, and we're trying to do street and solid waste on Wednesday. Are we Yes. not? Yeah. So Wednesday at 5 o'clock, I would have a conflict of another committee meeting in here.
What about Thursday? Does anybody have a problem with next Thursday? Randy, do you have a problem? We always try to make it to where the press can come, you know that, that's
I'm
a
not
priority
gonna
of
be-
ours, not to schedule on
I'm
city
not gonna
council
be able
nights
to
and
make
stuff
it
like that,
next
so that
Thursday.
you guys can be, huh?
I can't make it next Thursday.
Shame on you.
I'll be in West Kentucky.
Well,
Barely made it today.
yeah.
Sorry.
Rough crowd.
Sorry.
We had to have a lot of
I
time to
couldn't
think about
resist.
it.
I'm hungry.
We had a lot of time to think before I come back. Oh, that's something.
Yes, Mayor.
Do you need Mackenzie or Brad?
No,
Okay.
no, but thank you. That's my son, JT.
Really? You on the board? Well, they appoint you to the board.
Have you met the mayor, John?
Not
Why'd you stand up and be quiet?
How you doing, young man?
good. How about yourself?
Doing good.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I know that Captain Manley had expressed his appreciation to me and asked me to relay it. If he wanted to express his appreciation for expediting the meeting,
Okay.
he's welcome to do so.
While he brought that up, why don't we have them ask if that 17 is a hard?
Oh,
if
that's a
there's-
good idea.
If there is some.
We're still in session, so we can do that. Hi, are you Mr. Mattingly?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Christy Bradford. Nice to meet you in
Nice to
person.
meet you.
I'm actually glad. Hi,
Hello.
good to see you.
Brad Gillett.
Now we have to put you down and be at the meeting, you know that. But
Okay.
that's good because we need you here. Brad had a great question for you because here's where we are at this. We have, we are required to anyway, but we think your request is in the proper form under the ordinance. So we are going to refer that out to an outside independent attorney to advise us so that we can make our advisory opinion. But the problem we're having is trying to see how hard and fast that date is for you. We're going to do the best we can do, but as I told you before, you know, when you were asking just the general specifics about the ethics board, I can't, until I find that attorney and can make sure they can do it, and, I mean, I'm sure they'll be civic minded and want to get it done as quickly as possible, but the other problem we have, as I mentioned to you, is getting everybody here at the same time. Otis Ballard is not even, in town this week, so we can't, I doubt I can even reach him, and I wouldn't want to on vacation anyway.
Right. So my question was, is how hard and fast is the 17th? I mean, we're gonna struggle to get something and be able to get back together and have an opinion formed by the 17th.
What I've told at least one of the officers involved is that I don't know if we're going to have an answer before then, so he can either remove himself from the process, or he can go ahead and go through the interview process not knowing what the answer is going to be, and if they could come back saying it's okay, come back with an answer that's not favorable to him, which would not allow. So that's kind of a risk that he's going to have to take, that if we don't have an answer by the 17th, then we're going to go ahead and do our interviews, but we're going to wait,
Right.
make a decision until we hear back from the ethics board. Then once we hear from you all, then we'll proceed on accordingly based on the decision.
We agree that this should have been expedited, and of course, you just got the request into us, and we immediately set a meeting as quickly as we could.
And I appreciate that, and
Yeah.
we want to express our appreciation to the board for you all coming together so quickly to help us out with this.
Well, it's an important matter, for a variety of reasons, including public safety reasons, and so we know that, and we appreciate you getting the request into us. As Brad said very well earlier, we'd rather be requested an opinion ahead of time than try to fix a mess afterwards, and so would the city, and so would the county. I mean, everybody would like it done the right way, so.
Well, I think that answers our question, that you're not gonna make your selections until after you hear back from us, so him going through the interview process wouldn't be
Yeah.
punitive to him. He wouldn't know anything about that.
He understands what's going on, and it's a
Okay.
decision that he needs to make to go through the interview process, knowing I may not be able to be eligible, or to go through it and wait for the decision. So that's a decision the officer can make.
Right. At the end of the day, we want the right decision, and not
Absolutely.
just and you know that, obviously. Does anyone else have any questions for?
And I'd like to express my appreciation for that, because this is very important as far as the ethics standards of the department and my office, and the transparency. So
Mhm.
I think it's outstanding, so thank you all.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Okay,
y'all.
thank you very much, appreciate that.
You too.
All right, well, that helped. That was a
Okay,
good
so-
idea. Who knew? We're really glad you showed up.
So now are we gonna try to look at maybe, let's just say the next week,
Yeah.
between the 23rd and 27th?
That sounds like a good plan. I don't have a calendar, and I do need to check on that. The only reason is my husband is a drama teacher, and I don't remember what day his play is, and if I miss that, I may get demoted in the good wife department.
Well, and I don't have all of my schedule on my phone, so can we just kind of circulate something to get the next meeting? That'd be all right.
Can we?
I'll check in the morning with Capella and see where I'm supposed to be.
Does that sound okay to you, Austin?
But maybe try to shoot for that 23rd through the 27th, week after that.
Yeah, I think that's a good enough. That way, I would be stunned if we don't have the airport board.
5:30,
opinion.
Uh,
5:30.
Come on, John, you wanna get in on this too?
Say something, John, please.
I just thank God for traveling grace, so that I know you came a long way.
Ah, you always say the nice thing. Always nice.
We should aspire to be that nice.
I know. Well, that's always why I always like to be around John. He's always pithy. He always gets right to the heart of the matter, but he's always nice when he doesn't. Okay. Does anyone else have anything to mention that's on the agenda that they would like to discuss? Mrs. Copeland, are you wanting to be recognized about anything? Okay. All right. All right. Well,
Make a
I
motion that we
will.
adjourn then.
Yep. You're making a motion.
Yep.
Second, anybody?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Just a question, did we get the date for the
No.
next meeting?
No, I need to look at my
I didn't
calendar to
think
make
so.
sure.
I didn't,
and
yeah.
then I'll-
Right.
He was making a joke about the 5:30
Okay.
because
Oh.
Brad has a
Okay.
problem.
Right.
Brad has a problem.